Nah, dude. Hey, don't be heading That's clear. Go clear, hammer down, holster. Range is clear. 1208.
All right, let's talk about the new Kimber 2K11. This has been a highly anticipated gun since SHOT Show, and rightfully so. We're going to go ahead and talk about some of the features on paper, as well as my experience with these so far. I have about 8,500 rounds on the target model, and about 3,500 rounds on the base model 2K11. They have added a third model to the lineup, the stainless model with the carbon fiber grip. Originally, these were the two initial offerings. You have the target model, which has the copper or bronze PVD coating. And you have the base model, which is just, I believe, black nitride finish. They are essentially the same gun. Aside from the finish, the only real differences being that the target model comes with the Stanchion Customs magwell. That's not a deal breaker, though, because the Stanchion magwell is available on their website aftermarket for this guy. They both come with a bag of fiber optic to replace your front sight fiber. From factory, the target comes with red, the base comes with green, but the bag has both in them, so you can swap that out if you have a preference and you're running irons. The target model does have a ported slide, not a ported barrel, just a ported slide, whereas the base model just has the pattern milled a couple thousandths deep. Other than that, these are exactly the same gun. They shoot identically. There's no real difference. I did put the aftermarket safeties on there, so that's not from factory. From factory, they'll have these standard low pro staccato type safeties. They do not come from factory with a threaded mag release, so I had to put an aftermarket mag button in there for the extended mag release. I did that on both of those. That's like a $20 product. That's not a big deal. They both come with two, what are these, 20 round magazines and one 17 rounder each. I believe now they ship with the Checkmate magazines. These are the Kimber brand magazines on the earlier offerings. They do not take MBX magazines, so that is a con if you have a bunch of MBX mags accumulated from other 2011s. They will not take MBX mags. They do take Atlas mags and Checkmate mags. So I have two Atlas 23 rounders here. They take these perfectly, no issues. They run no problem with Atlas. So for USPSA, if you need something higher than that 2021 round magazine, pick up some Atlas 23 rounders. Had no issues with those other than they like to be clean. So if these get rained on and rusted a little bit or filled with dirt, definitely take a mag brush to these. But the magazine is really the only thing that needs maintenance on these. I've run these guns over 2,500 rounds, this one specifically, over 2,500 rounds without cleaning and haven't had an issue. I just started to notice it was getting a little sluggish in the slide reciprocation, so I went ahead and wiped it down and oiled it and went back to running how it typically does. All right, so the target model is available with or without an optic. I believe the optic ready model is what they call it. It'll come with a 2.5 MOA SRO. On the other one, it just comes with the plate, and you can throw on any RMR pattern optic you have, or you can get an aftermarket plate and throw on something else. On this one, I have the Holosun 507 comp. All right, so both of these models do come with a metal grip. Both of these have the aluminum grip. The new stainless model has a carbon fiber grip that I haven't played with yet, but that's a cool offering. So I was pleasantly surprised that these shipped with a metal grip. Most 2011s, under the $4,000 price point, are not going to ship with metal grip. They usually come with polymer. Even some of the over $4,000 guns come with polymer grips, cough, cough, Chambers. But these ship with an aluminum grip, and I really like these. I thought maybe I would replace these when they were on the way to me. I have some extra Chile grips laying around. This one's in the process of being taken apart, but some Chile steel grips, which is more in line with what I'm used to. These more aggressive textured, larger stainless grips, like this PT grip. But after shooting these quite a bit, I don't think I'm going to end up changing these. I actually really like these. It balances the gun well, feels good in the hand. I thought the texture might be a little too tame for me, but after heavy round count days, I've noticed that these tend to get a little too aggressive. These make me bleed on 1,000 round days or heavy dry fire days or whatever. These are much more tolerable over high round counts, and I don't really feel like I'm losing any purchase on the gun. So I live in South Florida, high humidity, and I'll rarely use chalk with these. If my hands are super sweaty, I'll add chalk, but they're not a necessity by any means. The texture is, it's not overly aggressive, but it is good enough to keep a purchase on the gun and not worry about it slipping around in your hand when they're wet or sweaty. So I think I'll probably keep these as is. But if you've ever played with the Phoenix Trinity Hero Grip, this is essentially that grip, right? It's aluminum. It is a medium checker pattern on there. It does have this relief cut, this undercut right there, which is nice. You don't get any hot spots on your firing hand middle finger. So I think I'll probably stick with these. They've been really nice so far. And like I said, they balance the gun well. There's not so much weight in the hand, but it's not excessively front heavy either, like some of these sight block guns. This one, even with the heavy steel grip and the steel magwell, or I believe this is aluminum actually, but steel grip, this front sight block and long dust cover, this thing is very, very front heavy. It's super easy to over transition on targets. So some people prefer a little more weight up front. I like a more balanced feel. So these have been perfect. The trigger on these ships with an advertised 3.5 pounds. They showed up at 3.25. I have a pull gauge that I put them on. This one is still set from factory. Very crisp trigger. No issues with the way they come from factory. 3.25 pounds. This is my primary match gun, so I did play with the sear spring just a hair. This is down at 2.5 now. And that's the only tuning I've done to this gun. I haven't replaced any springs. I haven't done any polishing. This is just bending that leaf spring to get it down to 2.5 pounds. On the clock, not really going to notice anyway, but I went ahead and figured I had the gun apart to clean it. Might as well go ahead and tune it a little bit. So this one is running a 2.5 pound trigger. You can probably go lighter on those, just playing with the sear spring without getting hammer follow, but I didn't play with it any more than that. I bent it when I had it apart and haven't taken it apart since. So these are pretty much match ready out of the box. The only thing I did immediately was add an extended mag release. The factory mag release is too small for most people to engage while maintaining their firing grip. And they are not threaded for a mag button, unfortunately. So I went ahead and swapped that out. Again, that's like a $20 or $30 part, not a big deal. I did put new safeties on this recently. The double tap safeties with a slightly larger paddle. I didn't have any issues with the factory one, but you can see they are kind of low profile. So there is, once in a blue moon and dry fire, I'd catch myself missing on the draw to disengage that safety. And lastly, if you get the base model, obviously you'll have to pick up a magwell, which again is available on the Stan Chin Customs website in black or whatever color you want. This isn't going to slow you down by any significant margin, but it is nice to have that insurance when slamming a fast reload, so there's no reason not to pick one up for USPSA limited optics. Again, these both come with an optics plate, so that'll save you a couple bucks, and then if you get the target model optic ready, it'll come with the SRO. Other than that, I haven't done anything to these. No spring swaps. Whatever recoil spring comes in these is what's in here. I need to figure out what weight they ship with, because I do need to swap this pretty soon. All right, so the obvious elephant in the room is, will they run? I know Kimber had a couple years where their 1911s were hit or miss on QC and reliability, and they built up a reputation of being a gamble when you buy their 1911s, right? Well, that management is long gone. New management is in, and they've knocked it out of the park with the 2K11 and their new 1911 next gen series. I do think the external extractor should be the standard across the board. When Kimber did it, other competitors followed suit almost immediately. The Staccato with their HD series comes with an external extractor as well. This is much, much more reliable than the internal extractors in my experience. There's not such a narrow operating window, and you don't have to clean the extractor channel and take it apart and bend it and all that nonsense. Just change this once a year, the spring and the extractor if you like. If you're shooting high round counts, most people aren't going to shoot enough to ever wear through an extractor. This is a gun that costs 3 times as much as the Kimber, and it has been plaguing me with extractor issues since I got it. Yep, not quite.
Yeah, well, the cheap in the dollar store is clean.
This gun's actually had a lot of issues, but the extractor issues have been chronic. The operating window for this gun is so narrow that if you take out the extractor and bend it just a hair to loosen or tighten it, it swings too far in the other direction. And then after a couple hundred rounds, it seems like it's out of tune again. So I've tried Aftex in this. I've tried EGWs. I don't know why this gun is so finicky. I've never seen a 2011 quite this problematic. But other 2011s that I've shot and owned have had similar issues with extractor tension coming out of tune over a couple thousand rounds. The extractor channel getting too dirty, causing some issues, whatnot. They like to be run really wet. They're super tight fitting, which is nice for feel when you're sitting here fondling it. But in practice, they get super sluggish very fast with any amount of dirt or grime build up in the slide rails. These have more of a, similar to Staccato and competitors, they have a much more like duty fit. So they still feel very nice. Like there's no slop in the slide, right? There's no discernible play between the slide and frame, but they don't have such a tight fit that a little bit of dirt is going to impede the reciprocation, right? You can tell when a couple mags through this guy, the slide gets really sluggish, and a couple more mags, it stops running. Like I said on this gun, I've shot 2,500 rounds through it with no cleaning and very minimal oil, and it's been perfectly fine. And it just started to get noticeably sluggish after that 2,500 round mark, so I went ahead and wiped it down, and it was good to go again. So, yeah, this has been by far the most reliable 2011 I've ever owned, or used for that matter, which I know some people think is surprising coming from Kimber, but like I said, new management is in. They're knocking it out of the park. Their new next-gen 1911 series takes a lot of features from this 2K11, the external extractor included, and those should be a very, very good value for the price point as well, and very reliable. Haven't played with those yet, but I'm excited to pick one up. I'm not normally a 1911 guy. I like lots of rounds in my guns, but I do want to play in single stack, and those guns look very promising. The only issue I've had with these is when I first got it, I did develop a little bit of a hot spot right here on the back strap of the gun. That's pretty typical of most 2011s, not a big deal. After you use 2011s for a while, you kind of just build up a callus there and get over it. But I was coming from a shadow, so the grip angle was different enough that my hand in that particular spot was not used to it. So that was something that just took a couple of weeks to build up a tolerance to. But yeah, super pleased with these so far. Very comfortable in the hand. I really couldn't ask for a better gun at the price point. Very feature rich. I mentioned that toolless guide rod. It is not like a Dawson where when it breaks, or if it breaks, hopefully it doesn't, that it seizes up the gun. These, you just turn the front of the guide rod a quarter turn and it locks it in place. Super convenient. I'll show you real quick. Actually, this gun's pretty dirty, but All right, so if you can see here, all you have to do on these guys is push the guide rod forward and then turn this a quarter turn, and it locks itself and comes right out. No more paper clips to take apart your multi-thousand-dollar guns, right? Put it back in, turn it the opposite direction, and it's back. Super convenient. You can see this gun is nice and dirty because I have been shooting it. All right, so huge fan of their toolless guide rod system. I do believe it's patented or patent pending, so you're only going to find that in the Kimbers, but much, much nicer than the Dawsons, and obviously much nicer than taking apart your 2011 with a paperclip. So I really do think these are the best value for the price in the 2011 world right now. You're going to be hard pressed to find a gun with as many features as this gun in this price range, or in general for that matter. Really, the only gun in this price range, as far as 2011s go, is the Springfield Prodigy, which by all accounts is a turd. They do not run reliably, and they need a ton of aftermarket parts and ignition kits to get them to run semi-reliably. The Staccato is a great gun, don't get me wrong. They run great, but they are much less feature-rich at a higher price tag. The only comparable model to this in the Staccato lineup is the XL. Again, you're getting a polymer grip there. You're getting no external extractor, no toolless guide rod, a less premium finish, no magwell, any of that from factory. No optics plate, I don't think. So you're getting a lot more gun for a lot less money here than the Staccato lineups, in my opinion. You can jump up to the MPA for things in that price range. Again, that $4,000 mark. They are good guns by most accounts. They do like to be run wet, and they are a little ammo finicky in my experience. They shoot very well, but I don't like high maintenance guns. I like to be able to take something out of the box and trust that it's going to be run reliably. And these have done exactly that for me. Atlas has been great in my experience, but again, that is a $7,000 to $8,000 gun. If I were ever to upgrade from these, it would be to an Atlas. That's really the only thing that I think has an ROI that would make sense in the 2011 world. Like I said, I have guns that cost more than that Atlas, and they've been absolute turds. So more expensive does not always mean a nicer gun. So all in all, I think you're going to be hard pressed to find a better value in the 2011 world than the Kimber 2K11. I think anybody who is skeptical of these is going to be pleasantly surprised when they get the chance to shoot them. These things have been fantastic out of the box. Again, this is bone stock with the exception of the safeties, and it's won me major matches. It's run reliably over almost 9,000 rounds. These things have been fantastic. I will include match footage in this video so you can see exactly what I mean when I say it returns very, very well. And again, this is not a tuned gun, right? This is right out of the box. No spring swaps, no nothing. So, fantastic gun, executed very, very well by Kimber. Very, very pleased with these.
Free for a couple years.
If you're finished on
And again, I'm not here to sensationalize this gun in particular. At the end of the day, it is just a 2011. It's not going to do anything better than any other well-built 2011. It's just going to do it more reliably at a much more tolerable price point. And frankly, it looks pretty cool, so that's a plus. So let me know what you guys think of these. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments or reach out via Instagram or email. You can email me at training@projectbrokenarrow.com. I'll get back to you within 24 hours typically. If you hit me up on Instagram, it might be a little longer. I'm pretty bad about checking my inbox there, but I'll get back to you within a few days. So overall, very, very happy with these. Super excited to run these for the rest of the season and the rest of my training. And if you guys have any thoughts on these, feel free to let me know. I'll keep posting updates as I go and more match footage. But overall, Kimber definitely made a winner.
Could have done it a lot faster.